What's going on, guys? It's Cola. So I know a lot of people that are struggling with leveling up quickly. It could just be you don't have a lot of people to play with, or you feel like it's just taking a really long time. Well, the method I'm gonna show you is absolutely the best method to level up. Alright, to get started with this method, we're first gonna go to your war bonds. Go to the regular war bond, and you're gonna need to go to page 3 because we need to get two things from here. The first thing is going to be the trench engineering body armor. This is super important to the strategy that we're going to be doing. It gives you 2 additional grenades, which is key to what we're doing. The next thing you want to get is the Hellpod space optimization. You might die a few times during this method. You shouldn't die too much, but you might die. And if you do, you want to come back fully stocked. That way you're ready to go, throw grenades, got ammo, all that good stuff. Now, if you do have the premium war bond, there's 2 things that you should get. On page 1, you should definitely get the Liberator Explosive Assault Rifle. This thing does a ton of damage, and I think is really good against the Automatrons, which is the main, I guess, race of enemy that we're going to be focusing on. The second thing is going to be the G10 Incendiary Grenade. This grenade, I've had a lot of success with this method. It's not necessary, but I think it helps out a lot to basically just coat an area in like an AoE damage pool. It's really good. All right, now let's go to the armory real quick. Again, Liberator Explosive, you don't have this, any other weapon, it works perfectly fine. This is just the most optimal setup for this. For the secondary, the P19 is absolutely goated. This thing is super good. It shreds enemies, the bugs, and the Automatrons, so I definitely recommend using this one. And the grenade, again, the G10, super good. If not, you know, the G12 or the G6 frag, perfectly fine as well. All right, so now that we're done actually optimizing your character for the strategy, let's go ahead and optimize your ship to make it just as good. All right, now for your stratagems. This strategy is based heavily around your sentries. So you're gonna go all the way down to your sentries, and the main one, the most primary one of this method is gonna be the mortar sentry. It has a ton of AoE, which kills a lot of enemies, which is the main focus of this technique that we're gonna show you to level up very quickly. You're gonna need the mortar sentry. If you don't get any of them, get this one. Next is going to be the autocannon sentry and the rocket sentry. Now, both of these are essentially the same thing. They're basically going to be doing the same thing. The rocket sentry is nice because it gives more AoE, but they're both doing the same thing because they're killing the bigger enemies to allow you to focus on the smaller ones, which is really important to killing a lot of enemies for this method. Finally, for the 4th slot, we're going to go ahead and go to the bridge and get the supply pack. This is absolutely crucial as well. So if you don't get any of the other ones in this video, get the supply pack and get the mortar sentry. Those 2 are absolutely crucial, so save up for those first and then get the other one. The supply pack is going to be key because it's going to allow you to hold 6 grenades at a time, since we have that armor that allows you to hold 2 extra. So once you have the supply pack, that's another 8 bonus on top of what you're already coming down with. Absolutely huge, absolutely vital. Finally, over in the ship modules, you're going to go all the way down to the engineering bay, and you want to get the synthetic supplementation. Makes your sentries come down way faster, 10% faster. This is absolutely key if you're in a bind. It's just good in general to be able to quickly get through the mission that I'm going to show you in a bit. Alright, so now we customize your character, we optimize your ship. This is about where we need to be to actually perform the technique. I'm going to show you that right now. Alright, so heading over to your galactic war map, the one thing and one mission you're only going to want to look for and you're only going to want to do is this one right here. It's basically the mission where you're just killing all the enemies, and that's the sole mission. Once you kill all the enemies, the mission's done and you can extract. The cool thing about this mission too is the ship comes down immediately. You don't have to type any codes, it comes down immediately, you extract, and you reap the reward. So the difficulty, the lowest difficulty that you could complete this is medium. Medium is still pretty easy with this method. Killing the Automatrons at medium difficulty is still pretty easy, but you can take this a step further and go all the way up to suicide difficulty. Suicide difficulty is gonna be, there's gonna be a lot more enemies you need to kill, but it's gonna give you a lot more XP. I'm gonna show you that later in the video. So here we go, we're gonna pick this mission.
Coordinates locked.
It's gonna take us over there. We're gonna lock in to the Hellpod. All right, so this right here, this little map, it's a little deceiving. That little white dot, or the white line, you kind of think is where you're gonna land, but it's actually the center of the C1 dot. So you're gonna land somewhere around right here. That's gonna put you in the middle. That's where you're gonna want to go to kind of set up for this method. Now you're gonna want to add those stratagems that I was talking about. So we got the autocannon sentry, the rocket sentry, and the mortar sentry, as well as the supply pack. And then you're also going to equip that optimization booster as well. Now we're going to Helldive so I can show you this method. Woo! Alright, so now we are landed. We need to kill 110 automatrons. Now you want to set up very quickly for this. So the first thing you want to throw down is going to be your supply pack. The next thing you're going to throw down is your resupply. I'm going to throw it way over there. Now you're going to want to put your mortar sentry somewhere that it has a pretty good coverage. So right in the middle, I think is the best. Then you're going to go and get your rocket sentry out. Throw it on top of that little thing right there. Well, it just kind of glitched and threw off. That's fine. And then we're going to go ahead and get your auto sentry, your auto cannon sentry, and we're going to put it on the opposite side to cover this basis. Now we pretty much have all angles covered right now, so we don't really have to do too much yet. They're going to get the majority of the kills, and this is really the method, right? So we're going to get into these missions, we're going to quickly kill the enemies, and we're going to quickly extract. Now, if you do this right, this can literally only take you 5 minutes to complete. I'll see if we can do that in this video. But these start out with a 15-minute maximum time. Now, you can find components in the very beginning like this. Find rocket launchers, machine guns, things like that to help you out. But you're going to have to get set up really quickly because they're going to start coming really fast. Alright. Still got to watch your back at all times. The mortar is not doing the greatest job. There we go. That's a little more kills. It's very hit or miss. Sometimes the mortar messes up, and that's okay. And here we're going to get some of the grenades out. And see, it does that AoE damage. So that little area is going to always take damage for anybody that goes in there. We're already at 35. And it's been about 3 minutes. Now, if you do bring in the recoilless rifle, I believe, what's called the little rocket launcher, you can actually shoot those things down, get kills quickly that way as well. But I think that having these other sentries is much better than that. Now, again, medium difficulty is going to be a lot easier than some of the other difficulties. There's not going to be a lot of enemies, so it's going to really help out. The mortar sentry whenever there's a ton of enemies getting dropped at once. Alright, so when your sentries and everything come back, oop, just got blasted. Make sure you call those things back in. It's like our game glitched out. Oh no. And so unfortunately this is one of the more annoying bugs that will happen in the game. They don't happen too often. But you can dive out like that to get out of them, and you'll be right back on track to be able to call your stuff. If you want to dive to the point where your character actually takes like a little bit of damage, you should be able to get out of that glitch relatively easy. Be careful with those missile guys, because they will mess you up. Try to take those guys out as soon as you see them. You see our sentries doing work right there, which is great. Toss some of these grenades.
Fire in the hole!
Alright, so we just need a couple more enemies dead to go ahead and finish this.
How about a nice
See
cup
some
of
enemies down there. Alright, so just one more enemy. So I can get down here, heal up real quick. Grab this, finish somebody off with style. Grab that component too, why not? And you're dead. Get out of that real quick. Alright, we're going to kill that big boy. Or we kill this guy. And there we go. Mission done. That went a little bit over. That was about 7 minutes. We had a little glitch, slowed us down. But that's going to be about it right there. So now we've got to wait for that to come down. Ooh, not die. Try to get around all these people.
This is Pelican 1, preparing for touchdown.
And there we go. See, that just automatically comes down for these missions. Go and stem up, make sure we're good. Now diving a lot can help you out a lot as well with dodging. It kind of throws some of the enemies off guard. So do that when you can. And we're gonna dive, and we're gonna get out of here. And there we go. So overall, that took about 7 or so minutes. We had the little glitch, so maybe it would be about 6:30. I'm not too sure. We're relatively fast, right? Most missions that you're gonna be doing in this game is gonna take you much longer. I'm talking, you know, 25 upwards to the whole 40 minutes that some missions say they do take into account. So do keep that in mind. There we go. So we got 80, we got 128, and with the medium plus 25%, we're gonna get about 160 XP. Now that's for the absolute lowest that you can actually go on this. That's gonna be the easiest way to start this method. So you can actually get upwards to around 650, even up to 750 XP if you're with 3 other people. Now I know that a lot of us don't have friends, so that's why I'm showing you this method right here. That way you're actually able to do this yourself if you have to. I know it's hard to get to the other difficulties without having more people. Some of the missions are relatively difficult, but that one is pretty easy to do by yourself. And you're getting about 160 XP per match. So the total amount of XP you're gonna need in order to get to level 20 is gonna be about 23,900. So if we take 23,900 and we divide it by the minimum that you can get per game, which is 150 in this instance, it's gonna take you about 159 games to get to level 20. Now that does sound pretty terrible. That sounds like ass, but it's fine because, like I said, this is the very base. But like I'm gonna quickly show you from a suicide mission that I did with 3 other random people, you can get upwards to 750 every time you do this mission. The more people you have, the more centuries you have, faster you win, the quicker you extract, etc, etc. At the suicide difficulty with 4 other people at 750 XP per match, that's gonna get you to level 20 in only 30 games, which is way faster than doing it by yourself. But again, you actually don't need people to do this method. So if you were able to solo your way to suicide difficulty, you can do this by yourself and essentially get the same thing. When I do this by myself, I get about 650 XP, which if I do some rough math in my head, it's probably about 40-45 games by yourself at suicide difficulty. So all right, you have no friends. Sucks. Here's a solution. This game's actually really awesome. So if you go to the Galactic War map, you zoom out, there are SOS beacons and just missions all over the place with other people that are also doing missions who want your help, who want help as well. This game is very community driven, kind of like a very tight-knit thing. People kind of know what it is. You don't need to talk, you don't need a mic. Everybody knows what it is. You just hop into the game, you kill stuff, you vibe, you get out, you rinse and repeat. It's a very fun cycle, but that's basically the game loop. So again, right here, here's a mission right here. There's one person in here, they're doing the exact mission that I want to do to be able to level up quickly. I joined their mission really quick, we finished it together. You reap the benefit of getting the XP, and then you can stick around if you want. Maybe you're vibing, you're like, oh, you know, this is kind of cool. So y'all end up doing some missions together and you start grinding the difficulties up, and then eventually you get to the higher difficulty, you get to the Helldiver difficulty all the way up here, and you start doing the really crazy missions, right? Even here at Helldiver, we got the same mission, kill automatrons, but in this case it's gonna be about 200. Right, so it's gonna be a lot harder, a lot more difficult to be able to do this by yourself. There's gonna be bigger machines, there's gonna be tanks, there's gonna be all sorts of things. So these missions become very difficult, and it gets kind of to the point where this method kind of falls apart at the really high difficulties, such as Impossible and Helldive. These are extremely hard. I have a very hard time trying to do the kill missions by myself at both of these. But Suicide Mission, I think, is the perfect balance. It's the one that's like right there, that you can do it by yourself and get out pretty quickly around that same 7-minute mark. Excuse me. But the reason being is because that mortar is going to get you a lot of kills. So naturally, since there's going to be more enemies, those ships are going to drop more enemies, so the mortar is going to have more enemies to kill. So you actually can get out potentially faster in this than you would in medium. The best part about this entire method though is that you don't actually need to extract. You just need to get the kills, and once you get the kills, if you happen just to die, you die. Now you won't get all the XP you would if you do extract, I think you get 40 XP per Helldiver or 20 XP per Helldiver that extracts. So you won't get that bonus, but you will get the XP. It will still be fast even if you die, and you rinse and repeat until you're level 20. Guys, I hope this video helped you out a ton. If it did, leave me a sub down below. Like the video if it really did help you out. Share it with your friends if they're also looking to level up very quickly or catch up to you. I know a lot of people that just joined the game, their friends been playing for a little bit, so they're relatively high level, and then they join and they're like level 1. Share this video with your friends. Get them over to level 20. That way they can grind up as well. Learn the techniques. Guys, I hope to see you out there, my fellow Helldivers. I love y'all. Have a good one, and I'll see you next video.